This is Gonzalo Lira from El Heraldo de Mexico. Hi, Paris. How are you?
Hello, amazing. How are you?
I'm happy to talk with you. I mean, the title of the documentary is just like so on point. I think that you're iconic, actually. And let me tell you, it's not just has to do with you now as a pop figure. I think it also has to do with you as a woman that had to endure to the kind of things that you tell on the documentary. So I wanted to start by asking you, how do you think that these things that you had to go through have changed through the years, and how much did you think that you paved the way for new female artists to be in a safer place, if so?
Yeah, just looking back on it, it wasn't until I actually was watching the documentary that I thought about it. And I was like, I never gave myself the credit for what I survived during the 2000s because the media was just so vicious and cruel to myself and to other young women in the industry. And it was just extremely painful just to have to go through on a daily basis with people being so unkind and rude and just it was horrible. And those things that happened back then, like the way that we were treated, would not happen today. It would not be accepted. And so the thing I try to think about as a silver lining is, maybe some people have to go through certain things in life so that it won't happen to others. So I'm just grateful that the girls of today don't have to experience the pain of the abuse that myself and others went through, because it was like almost like a form of entertainment back then, and it was so normalized, and that just doesn't affect only those people. It affects other women in the way they probably feel that people, think of them. And I don't know, it's just looking back on it, I thought it was just like an important part of the story to tell, because it's not just my story, it's the story of so many women around the world who have felt the same way.
I was also thinking about the resurgence of Stars Are Blind, with the Emerald Fennell's movie. The movie goes into these kind of subjects that we're talking about. Did that kind of gave you some map of where you wanted to go with this comeback? Was that something that you also take into consideration, or was it just a coincidence?
Emerald called and said that she wanted to use that in her film. I was so excited and so honored. And then watching the film, I just thought it was so powerful, and just, what an important part that song was of the film. And it just made me so proud, because that song is just so iconic and so timeless. And I was already in the studio at that point recording. So that just made me even realize even more, like, I'm doing the right thing, and this is what I was born to do.
Something that I like a lot about the footage that we get to see in the documentary is watching you actually showing us as audiences how long have you been into the singing, how long have you been into music, which I think is something that we hadn't seen that much. So was that something that you looked for on purpose, or why did you never show us that before?
I have thousands and thousands of hours of, unseen footage, because my dad used to film everything since I was a little baby. Then he bought me a camera when I was like 12. So then I was constantly filming everything. Teenage years, 2000s, like I always, before there was an iPhone and before there was influencers, it was me literally like filming everything. So I had not seen any of that footage. So I was just like watching it all, and I was like, oh my God, this is like the perfect opportunity to put this in this film, because it really just shows so much of my story and how this has literally been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. I was like obsessed with like Paula Abdul and singing and performing, and it's just something I always wanted to do my whole life. So this has been very like truly healing to my inner child to do this documentary and this film, and just to see it all come together. I'm so incredibly proud.
Does it ever cross your mind that although this is so personal for you, it kind of it made me think about watching you on TV, watching you on the reality shows, and for people my age, for example, now such a different example of the consequences of the fame that you went through. Was that something that you were thinking about while preparing this documentary and the album per se?
Yeah, I think that, the world got to know me through a persona and a character that I created, for the show The Simple Life. And that was the first reality show. So I had no idea that I would continue on having to do that character for 5 seasons straight. And then the whole world assumed that's who I really was in real life. But there was always so much more to me. And I just always felt so underestimated, and that people didn't take me seriously because they're like, oh, she's just, dumb blonde. She's a party girl. And they had no idea what I had actually been through in my life, and that there was so much more deepness than what they thought. And even through the music, just like on my album, like that was important for me, just to like really just write songs that had to do with my life and things that I had been through in my life. And it's just like amazing, like the evolution from then until now. Like it just feels like I don't know, I just feel so grateful for everything. And I think maybe everything happens for a reason. And this is the reason who I am today, and that I've made a difference in so many people's lives. And the fact that I can take my pain and turn it into a purpose, and have changed 15 state laws and passed 2 federal bills to protect children. It's just been the most meaningful work of my life.
You talk about the on-screen persona. Once the camera started rolling for the documentary, did you have some echoes from those times? Did that persona, did you have to struggle with that character, to fight her out? Or did you feel yourself more comfortable with who you are now and showing us who you are now?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable showing my real self now. Like, of course, I feel like the character has been a part of my life for so long that it will always be a part of me. But before, it was more like as a protective shield or armor, because the trauma I'd been through, I kind of just wanted to build this like perfect Barbie doll life around myself, because I wasn't ready to talk about, the things I had been through. But now I see her as like my fun, like silly side. And like when I do like certain TikToks or things, like when I just am being silly and funny, then I like go more into the character. But then, when I'm speaking on the steps of Capitol Hill or in Congress testifying, then I show my serious side. But I feel like even though I'm serious, it always has like that Paris sparkle to it, because that's just who I am as a person.
But don't we all? I mean, that's the greatest thing about watching you now. You get to show us that we all have those different sides of ourselves. Paris, it's been such a pleasure talking with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you said. I really appreciate you. And I'm sending you so much love.